So hopefully I've made a case for the obvious as to why looking after ourselves is a very important thing from our mental health perspective. And I should say that everything I've said tonight is not instead of the best medical care that we can get. We get the best medical care, the best specialist care if we need that, but if we don't combine it with the things we can do for ourselves, we're missing out badly. If we combine that with all of the other things we can do for ourselves, we've got the best combination of everything that's available to get the best outcome for our mental health. So we need to be very active participants in our own healthcare and feel very empowered to get involved in that way and combine that with our medical care. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. So, unless Misty's got anything to say...
We're probably running close to time. I'm conscious that people might need to be getting away, but are there any questions that people might want to ask? Obviously, there might be some scope to approach us individually afterwards, but is there anything, if you can just pop your hand up and I'll come to you with the microphone.
Okay, just down the front here.
Or recurring dreams. You can't really control that.
Well, to an extent, so the stress from recurring dreams and bad dreams, often that'll be a product of what's gone on during the day to a certain extent. How we're feeling during the day will sometimes reflect itself at night. But very much at night, the mind's thinking, projecting all sorts of things, and we can be getting stressed and not much good quality sleep overnight if we've got a lot of dreams like that. Everything we do to improve our mental health and our well-being during the day will start to be reflected in sleep at night. So both in the depth of sleep and the quality of sleep and the beneficial effects that has. So there are a lot of strategies for improving sleep, but also for improving the way that we think and feel during the day, but that will start to reflect itself at night in sleep as well in terms of what goes through our minds at night. Medications can sometimes affect the mind at night as well and be associated with more dreams. So you need to ask also, are you on any medications that could be affecting your sleep and the dreams as well? All right. Okay. Last question? Sure. I think just over here.
Maybe just one or two if...
Yeah. It was a fantastic how would I say, speech or lecture. And thank you for that. You presented it from a GP bringing up very valuable supplements. The question is how far it can go for. In other words, if you were a psychiatrist or if psychiatry would have adopted this as perhaps up to a point, what would be that point? Could it be a substitution to the usual psychiatry way, like ECT and drugs to treat psychosis, or could it go as far as alternative within mental institutions?
I think if somebody's got very severe mental health problems or certain kinds of mental health problems, then medications would be highly advised. It may be for people with more mild to moderate mental health problems who want to self-manage and learn skills for managing that. It may be for many of those people may not need medications and can learn to manage it. And if you want to call that an alternative, we're not saying a rejection of the best that modern medicine's got to offer, but we might sort of say, look, I'll put this as the first priority. I'll do this instead and learn to self-manage it better. And if we put all that combination together, then there may be a very significant proportion of people are able to self-manage, as I mentioned before, about just mindfulness by itself, having significant beneficial effects. Now, it may be, for example, that a psychiatrist says, gets more informed about these kinds of things and integrates it into the care that they're giving. So here's the best medical treatments, the medications that might be appropriate. Now, here's all the lifestyle factors I'd like to encourage, and we'll revisit and talk about that. So a psychiatrist may want to be actively engaged in that aspect of management, or may say, no, that's not the area of management I'm involved in. So here's the best that medical treatments I've got to offer, but I will emphasise that lifestyle is very important, and I'd encourage you to get some advice and help with these areas from this person or in that place. But I think that's a very important part of your management. So they may not be the ones giving all the advice and the help, but they might just be helping to point a person in a direction. I think that would be tremendously useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen very much in most fields of medicine, and would be a very important message, I think. Patients with MS, patients with cancer are not getting that kind of message. So it'll probably change in 5, 10, 15 years, but sooner the better. Good.
All right, look, we'd better start to wrap things up. I think you'd all agree with me that's been full of a lot of very interesting information, and from a very positive angle, I'd like to say, with some really practical tips that we can start to apply in our day-to-day lives. So thank you very much, Craig, for presenting tonight, for your time, and for, I loved some of those cartoons and the philosophy that you started with too. That was really interesting. I do want to, yeah, please. I do want to just remind you that, and I'm not sure, Craig, if you want to expand just a little bit on what people might find, just to help them make the decision if they are interested in purchasing any of the items that we've got available tonight.
There's got over there a 3 CD set which is all around mindfulness, so the background, mind and body, and the way I sort of introduced you to it tonight. And the 3rd CD of the 3 CDs has got a whole series of mindfulness practices from 1 minute to 20 minutes on it. So if you wanted guided mindfulness practices, so that's in the CDs. The Know Thyself book, I feel like I should be in telemarketing. The Know Thyself book is a mindfulness program. It doesn't just talk about the mindfulness meditation, but a whole series of cognitive strategies based around mindfulness. So it's a mindfulness program. And so that certainly complements the CDs. The Essence of Health book covers all of the things I was talking about tonight. Plus it's got chapters on the essence of mental health, the essence of managing cancer, heart disease and so on. So it applies the model to a whole range of chronic illnesses. All the references are in the back if you want to read further. But that's the book that's, if you want the most comprehensive coverage. And it's got an abridged section of mindfulness in here as well. That's the most complete book if you wanted to cover all the bases that we're talking about tonight. So that's the Essence of Health. So I think we've got some copies over there if you are interested.